Okay.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. It's really an honor to be here today, and I'm really grateful to the organizers for inviting me and putting so much work and enthusiasm and energy into this conference. And I couldn't be possibly more grateful for the invitation, and I never felt so welcomed in such a beautiful city. So maybe let's give a big hand for the organizers for pulling off this first day of PyCaribbean. So my name is Ola Sitarska. I come from Poland, which is a small country in Europe, and I live in London and work as a senior developer at Potato. Potato is an agency. We do development and design that focuses on building complex and scalable products, and that's all using Python and Django, which is quite cool. So I'm also a Django core developer and organizer of DjangoCon and Django Under the Hood. But I'm mostly known for co-founding Django Girls. And yeah, that's what I'm mostly known of. We did that together with Ola Sitarska. And Django Girls is an organization we started a year and a half ago. And since then, the Django Girls community taught more than 3,600 women basics of Python, Django, and web development. So all we focus on is creating free online resources that are open source, and we also create some tools to support volunteers all over the world. There is 300 of them right now, to organize free one-day Python and Django workshops tailored for women. We also make sure we empower women by fostering like a really caring and supportive community located all over the world. So today I want to tell you a little bit of the story and how I went from being like 21, not really knowing anyone in the Python community, to actually changing lives of many people who got a chance to participate at Django Girls workshop and become programmers through our community. So it's a story of when a boy meets a girl, and I was 17. I just moved to Warsaw, which is the capital city of Poland, from my tiny hometown. I was still very much a beginner PHP developer, and there was a boy who on our first day gave me a Python book that was like this big and showed me the Django admin interface that was like completely automatically generated, and he told me all of that, and I was like, long story short, I fell in love. So actually that wasn't even a long story, because I started building my first Django website the same week and never looked back, and I'm still dating the same boy today. And a few years back, I wrote a blog post saying that I came to Django for auto-generated admin, because that was actually the feature that sold me on Django, but I stayed for the community. It's still true today, and the community around Django and Python is the reason I still keep building cool things with it. And someone once said that community is Django's best undocumented feature. Because you see, when I started building stuff with Django, for the first 3 years, I didn't even know that there's something like community, that there are people who are going to conferences, people who are actually writing Django. I had no idea something like that even exists. And this all changed when I volunteered on a conference organized by my friend in Warsaw. He was doing a JavaScript conference, and they had it all. They had like all the international speakers, and a great party, and great venue and stage. So I signed up because it sounded like all the fun, and it meant that I didn't have to pay for a ticket that I couldn't afford. So I went there and volunteered at the registration booth and just cleaning up after people, stuff like this. This one event completely got me hooked to the whole organization of conferences area. So I helped organizing small hackathons before that, but I never experienced quite something like a huge conference before. And I loved it. I loved the people. I loved the atmosphere, and I really wanted something like that for Django. So shortly after that, me and my friends started to research potential venues in Warsaw where we could actually make a conference. And nothing really felt quite right until we came up with the idea of a circus. Circus is quite a flexible venue because you can make it as big or as small as you want. You can set it up in various locations. In addition, circus sounds like so much fun, and it's unexpected, and the whole idea around Monty Python Flying Circus just felt really a perfect match. So, so me and my friends started to research potential venues in Warsaw. And this one just worked. And doing something new and weird and slightly crazy was what I always kind of loved to do. So we kind of started playing with the idea of Django Circus, which was like an independent conference. We wanted to start non-profit, just to make something fun. We made a website. We hired our friends to hand draw all of the graphics. And then I knew about this one guy who lived in Berlin, which is quite close to Poland. And he was a Django core developer, which I wasn't sure what that really means at this point. But we sent him an email inviting him to the conference. And it turns out that the moment I sent an email, he was actually enjoying talks at another conference called DjangoCon, which is the official Django conference held every year. So he answered immediately, asking us if we could have a time to do a quick Skype call with him. Because he would like us to meet Ola and Tomek, who live in another Polish city, and are thinking of organizing official DjangoCon next year. So maybe we could team up and do it together. So this is also how I met Ola and Tomek. We organized DjangoCon in Circus together next year, and somewhere along this organizing madness and doing all of the things we didn't know how to do, we also became best friends. And they were one of the most important people in my life, and I couldn't be more grateful to Yanis for connecting us and believing that we can actually pull this idea off. So for me, the Django community means friendship, and it's just a bunch of people who is scattered around the world who met at DjangoCon once and really like each other now. And actually, the people are the reason I'm looking forward to DjangoCons or any other conference for that matter, not even the talks, because I think that it's the people who I missed and can't wait to see again. And I think we even talked about this yesterday with Eric, that last time we met, it was in Amsterdam, and before that it was Kansas, and all these random places, and we just go to conferences and meet. So before DjangoCon, we haven't quite anticipated how much exhausting and stressful work organizing a conference involves. All those like tiny little details that we need to think about and take care of, all while working like regular jobs. Things like planning how our conference should look like, to wondering how we arrange toilets in our circus place in the middle of nowhere. It was actually on a horse racing track, to add to the absurdity of the situation. And organizing a conference is like a roller coaster when in one moment you can be both scared that you are not going to sell a single ticket or that you are going to sell out so quickly. So it's months and thousands of hours of incredibly hard and stressful work, thoughts put into every tiny little detail that people won't even notice after all. And it's also all volunteer work on top of your existing job. And you don't need any special skills and knowledge to contribute to your community. We didn't know a thing about how all the stuff works before we started. But having a heart in the right place and keeping the happiness of the people who you are inviting to your home is all you need. I was incredibly stressed that the weather is going to be bad, or we are going to forget some major thing. My grandma was actually like praying for a month that the weather is going to be good. I shared those feelings. I'm really scared with a friend who was organizing conferences before, and she told me that I don't have to worry because we are doing things for the right reasons, so it's going to be okay. And stars will align, and they definitely did. It was raining for days before DjangoCon. We had perfect sunshine during the conference, and it was raining again for days after the conference. If it's not magic, I don't know what is. And all this hard work is completely worth it. You can imagine how fulfilling it is, and giving people a chance to meet in person, in place, and create memories together is what makes community a community. I believe that events and conferences are the best thing we can do to create real human connections between people. And those memories and friendships made during a conference inspire, they motivate, and make people go out and do something together. Conferences turn people from observers to active contributors to code and community. Human connection and putting people in the same room and giving them like the freedom to collaborate and do something is essential to build a strong, supportive community, which is why I think PyCaribbean is doing a great job in making that happen here. But there is also something more important than that. I think the conferences give people a sense of belonging to a greater community. The whole DjangoCon was gave me like a sense of belonging and feeling of being part of something amazing that I never felt before. The memory of the closing of DjangoCon, people giving us like standing ovation, it's, thanking us for the work we did, still like kind of brings tears to my eyes, and I couldn't be more grateful for the opportunity to be part of it. Opportunity to meet all of those people who create Django or who use Django was something I'll never forget. And like I saw them, like knew people from Twitter before, but opportunity to meet them in person was really powerful. And I think the months I spent organizing DjangoCon were actually the best months of my life. It was so worth it. Because I think a good community gives you an incredible sense of belonging. And every time I go to a conference after this, I always could feel that feeling. And it's a huge thing. A sense of belonging to a greater community improves your motivation and health and happiness. And when you see your connection to others, you know that all people struggle the same way you do and have difficult times and always feeling like maybe they're not good enough or they don't know how to program good enough. And you know you're not alone. And there's like so much comfort in this. So I think sense of belonging makes a community what it is. But after DjangoCon, there was something that really bothered me for a while, because out of 24 speakers we had, only 2 of them were women. So that was tiny people, of all of the people who attended were women, and we definitely dropped a ball on this, and as the first-time organizers, we just didn't have enough time and experience to focus on fixing this issue before the conference took place. It was something that really bothered me, and I was a woman. I wanted to see more people like me in our community. And I tried to live by this rule. So I try to never complain about things. If something really bothers me for a long time, I gave myself 2 options. Either like move on and forget, don't go back to this, or actually fix and do something about it. So this is a problem I knew is important enough for me to fix. I always knew the Django community well enough to know that if I need it, I'm going to receive all the support I'm ever going to need to do the right thing. Because I like to believe that the Django community and the Python community is a group of people that does the right thing. Even if it's difficult, even if it comes with a risk, we do the right thing and not the easiest thing. So Django community was one of the first ones to introduce the code of conduct that is now followed by many other communities. And we also enforce the code of conduct requirement on events sponsored by the Django Software Foundation. Recently, it also published its diversity statement, even further making like a claim of what's important for the community, and that everyone is welcomed and appreciated in it. So I knowing all of this, and knowing all of the people in the community, I knew that if I decide to fix it, I'm going to receive all the support I need. Like I cannot even imagine how much support I received from all of the people. So this is how Django Girls was born. I reached out to my friend, Ola, who organized DjangoCon with me, and asking her for help to plan Django Girls workshop at EuroPython. EuroPython is this big regional conference in Europe, and they generously offered us free room and food and 50 free tickets for all of the attendees of our workshop. And that was the plan. That was just it. We are going to organize one workshops for 50 people, 50 women. It's going to be free, about Python and Django, one day, and we haven't planned anything more than this. That was just the plan. But then, something really weird happened. So we did this in Berlin, in Germany. We received, shortly after, like a day after our event happened, we received an email from Elena from Australia, asking us if she can copy all of that and make it happen the same way at PyCon Australia. And we said yes. And then the emails from Taiwan in Asia or Nairobi in Africa arrived. And emails from like all these amazing women we had no idea they even exist, asking us, hey, can I make it happen for a woman here? In a year and a half, Django Girls has been spread to all 6 continents and 57 countries, which together made up a number of 153 workshops. And this is all over the world. And we are blessed to getting to know so many amazing women who made it happen in places in the world I didn't even know exist. And this map really makes me happy. So 150 free workshops are not the only thing we did. So on our GitHub account, you can find that we open source 5 manuals, like how to organize Django girls, how to coach, how to translate our tutorial. And the most important one was actually the tutorial that we used during all of our workshops. The tutorial was written originally by me and Ola before the first workshop, because we were like hugely dissatisfied with the status quo of the existing tutorials, because all of them assumed that someone knows already what Python is, what HTML is, what CSS is, what is URL, view, database, and model, and all of that levels of complexity. So we thought, okay, we are actually getting beginners. We are getting women who never coded before, and they only know computers from browsing the internet. So we need to start from scratch. We need to start with how the internet works, and that's actually our first chapter. So our tutorial is free, open source, and has been read by 170,000 people so far. And this is quite a number I still can't believe. Because of that, it also became one of the most recommended free Django tutorials out there. It's just getting stuff from the very beginning and explains everything quite thoroughly. So that's why I think people like it. And it's also been tested on quite a number of people now. So we managed to kind of fix and have solutions for most of the edge cases that can happen on your machine if you're running Ubuntu or Windows or something like that. So with the help of contributors, it also has been translated to 12 languages now. It's also available in Spanish, and it's definitely not your usual tutorial. And we try to guide people through errors, so they are not afraid to fix errors and fix bugs, because that's what programmers do. So we kind of guide them into errors so they can read the message and actually know how to fix problems in the future. I strongly recommend you to check it out, even if you know Django already. I think it's a good read. So this all made it possible that in just 18 months, 3,600 women attended our events this week. And actually today there were 4 events, 3 in UK and 1 in Africa, in Lagos. And I was really happy to see all of the tweets while I'm at the conference. And that's almost 200 women learning Django every month since we started. And it's only getting faster and getting bigger. And our community of organizers and women and men who code in Django on a daily basis grew to more than 300 wonderful people now. So this exceeded our wildest expectations, because we just planned for this 50 people workshop at the beginning. And today, that's 2 years later, after our initial DjangoCon, 54% of DjangoCon speakers are women. And this credit is not all ours to get, but it's amazing to see how far we as Django community got to be in such a short time. And I think that's quite an amazing number. I'm really proud of it. And people sometimes ask us, how do you make that happen? How all of that came alive? And the answer is really just one. Thanks to the amazing support we received from the Django and Python community. We didn't travel to all of those 57 countries that Django Girls event been to. We've barely been to 10 events. I've been to, I think, 10 events myself. And the community stepped up and volunteered and made it all happen. Because I believe that a good open source community does the right thing. Because technology is beautiful and important, and Python and Django is cool, but at the end, the community and the people in it are everything that really matters. It's all about these real human people who chose to, whose life we are going to change at least a little bit through our action and our contribution to the community. So I encourage you a lot to step out of your comfort zone, get involved in to contribute to your community, even in some small ways, translate something or help someone out, learn something new. Because if me, a 20-something girl from Poland, could do it, I think you can do it too. And you won't believe the magic that will happen once you start. Contributing to community completely changed my life and the path of my career. And after 7 years since I started writing Python and Django, I'm still doing that, even though people like to convince me to go to JavaScript side. But I still believe that Python has an amazing future just because of the people in the community here. So that's all. Oh, thanks for having me. I think you've got some time for questions if you have any. Do we have time? Hopefully. Yeah, if you have any questions, go for it. Okay, that's fine.
What is the future?
Sorry?
How do you see the future?
Could you?
When you started, you thought it was a
Yeah.
pretty dense
Yeah.
We've been, has been
Yeah.
amazing. So, what do you think it's gonna be?
In the future, I have no idea what's going to be in the future. No idea, really. I'm trying not to expect anything anymore because I've been really wrong about this in the past. I think we are trying to make sure our community of organizers spreads easily. So this year we are planning to organize Django Girls Summit, which is a conference, two-day conference for organizers or people who would like to be organizers. And that's kind of, I think, what we are focusing on this year to make sure it's sustainable and we can actually make sure that organizers actually spread the word even further. We also, last year we hired our first part-time person because just all of the work supporting those 300 organizers turned out to be quite a challenge. So we had some generous sponsors who contributed to helping us hire someone who is working on Django Girls part-time. And that's been quite an exciting change because it let us actually have some free time to do other things. And that was quite good. I don't know what's going to be in the future. I hope we're going to still spread. I hope that Django Girls won't be needed one day. That's my goal. So there is enough women and there is, like, this problem is fixed. I think that's really my only expectation I can have. Yeah.
Regarding the material that you already written, are you planning to write a new tutorial or keep working on the tutorial extension?
Yeah. So that's a recurring question. Right now we are focusing on making the current tutorial as good as possible because there are still some rough edges we can fix. And we recently moved our deployment chapter from Heroku to Python Anywhere, which has been a big change and uncovered, like, for example, we are trying to strip everything from like level of abstraction. So we are not showing them like Vagrant or Docker, but we are trying to get from like install Python actually on their computers, even though it's harder. And I think it's the same with the move from Heroku to Python Anywhere, because Heroku is like this black magic box that works perfectly if it works, but you don't really know how it works if you're a beginner. So we kind of moved to Python Anywhere to make sure people actually understand what's WSGI and stuff like this. So this has been a good change. I'm not sure if we're going to create another tutorials. Me and Ola are now focusing on writing a book, which kind of takes it a bit step back actually, and explains more stuff about computer science and basics of that that we think is crucial to understand everything. But the workshops are going to stay the same way. So the goal is to actually get people excited and show them that in one day they can go from nothing to deploying their blog application to the internet and sending a link to their parents or friends. And that's going to probably stay the same. Mm-hmm.
What about the Dominican Republic? Do you have any notice from girl groups in the Dominican Republic? I think there is Five Ladies, there is some other groups.
Yeah, so there is no Django Girls in the Dominican Republic yet, but hopefully there will be something. Yeah, I'm definitely going to start some conversation about that. And yeah, there are actually some very active members in Argentina and I think also Brazil. So hopefully there's going to be something here soon. Yeah?
Do you have any advice for communities that are not oriented to
Mm-hmm.
any genders, like to bring more women to the
Mm-hmm.
community?
Yeah, I think that the good idea that you can do is to make sure that you kind of stay open and welcoming and establishing even like some simple stuff like code of contact and making sure you actually have this covered is really important. And I think so what I think works with Django Girls is that we are actually inviting women. Like we are saying to them, you don't have to know how to program. We can teach you and we can show you how it works and it is for you. And I think that's the message that translates to them, because they usually, when there is like gender-neutral meetup, they don't see themselves as a target group. So what I've seen working in many places, after the Django Girls event, some places, for example, set up like a coding camps. So they organize like a weekly meetups where some people just come to hack some stuff together and work on some project together, just to learn how to program together. And this is usually a mixed gender group, but it kind of, when it follows the Django Girls event, there is just lots of interest and lots of excited people, and they really want to come, and they know it's safe and nice, and they belong there. And I think that's kind of what you can do. And I think the Django Girls events is just a good starting point, and then you can follow up with smaller events that just bring people together to learn. Anyways. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ola. That was really inspiring.